The NPH Hour, News Talk Saga 960 AM, Jason Thom here as your host. Every generation of basketball players have a few guys that they call, with much respect, their OG. And Jermaine Anderson is one of those guys in the Toronto area. He was a legend of his time in high school, worked his way onto the roster at Fordham University, played in 8 different countries over an 11-year career. He then earned his Master's of Business degree that he is putting to good use to help kids coming from the same area he did in North Toronto. He's also helping to build the basketball foundation here at home in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Quite frankly, this man is a part of the past, present, and future of basketball here in Canada. Jermaine Anderson is in China. He's working with the Shanghai Sharks Rock. First question, just tell us about your role over there with the team.
So right now I'm working with 2 other foreign coaches as a player development consultant. So we're overseeing the player development side within the organization. And we are also working with the main team to help develop those guys. So it's a holistic development, and we get to work with the entire organization from top to bottom, which is a great experience for me.
We all know you as a former basketball player and everything that you've done within Canadian basketball, the 905. But yeah, I mean, China is a business powerhouse. What has it been like off the floor for you in kind of, rubbing elbows with some high level executives? Because you have an MBA yourself, and I know you have big aspirations outside the sport. So, what has that been like for you? And maybe your advancements off the court have mirrored what's been going on the court for you?
Yeah, honestly, just being able to make meaningful connections. I think the one thing that we all share as foreigners is that we're away from home. So it's much easier to connect. If I was walking, down Fifth Ave in New York, I'd probably walk by the majority of the people that I've been able to meet. But, like seeing a foreigner, it's like, hey, what are you doing here? Where are you from? Everybody that's here is somewhat established in their respective field. So I've met, CEOs, senior managers, diplomats, and just being able to have those conversations and learn, different people and their stories and where they've come from is, for me, the greatest experience of all.
50 for free. We had Courtney Charles of the 905 on the show a little while back, and I know he's involved with this non-for-profit that you've had going for a couple of years now. I know how important it is for you to give back from where you came from. So maybe for those that don't know, what is 50 for free and why is that so important for you?
Yeah, so 50 for free is a financial literacy program that combines the game of basketball. And we are a holistic development, not-for-profit organization. And our aim, honestly, is to help alleviate the financial burden within lower-income communities. And our main objective is to ensure that each program participant that comes through our doors leaves with the knowledge to make financially sound decisions in adulthood. We want to be able to sort of narrow that wealth gap within our society and, help put these kids on a path for generational wealth.
I know you're on the other side of the world right now, but what are you hearing? Because I know how well connected you are, obviously through 50 for free, and obviously from where you grew up here in Toronto. But what are you hearing about what's going on back here with the underserved communities, not only getting hit hard by COVID, but also the kids who rely on sport to be able to keep them, on track?
Yeah, honestly, like everybody that I've spoken to is, man, I can't even put into words, right? Like everybody is extremely frustrated, to say the least. I think about all the kids that have to try to learn online, but the kids that might not have the best at-home environment, or maybe in a house that's filled with 5 or 6, 7 people that have to try to learn. Kids that are relying on sport or an extracurricular activity to make it out of their situation. Those kids now are somewhat set back, and I think now those that are disadvantaged are in a much worse position than they were before COVID. It's hard, especially for people in my community, and for those that look like me. And, we just need to try to figure out ways to help them during this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle and one that we're still in. Meanwhile, in China, I know, things have been figured out on the COVID front, and it's just amazing to see kind of the waves and how much leadership really, has to do with COVID, right? Like, and the lack of leadership, has been glaring back here at home. And from somebody from your standpoint, from being, a point guard and somebody on the floor who kind of directs things, are you learning about leadership in life right now, and kind of what it takes to be a good leader, whether it be like in politics or in sport in general?
For sure. Like, just being on this side, right? Like, obviously they do things differently over here. The one thing that I am learning from being on both sides is, as a leader, I think like you just need to do what's best, what you feel is best, regardless of what is being said, and then just do it, right? I think in Ontario in particular, I think the government was trying to please everybody, and and in the end, end up pleasing nobody. Yeah, look what happens, right? Where on this side, like, everybody was frustrated, because I talked to a bunch of different people here, back in February of 2020. Everybody was frustrated, upset, nobody could leave, but now, everybody's happy, right? So it's just, when you start to put things into perspective, you start like, it makes me sort of think, but at the same time, as a leader, have to make a decision, and whatever happens at the end of the day.
And the leadership role that you still hold, over here, even though you are in the Far East right now, is general manager of the Hamilton Honey Badgers of the CEBL. And obviously there's so many former players that are involved in the CEBL, bringing great value from a Canadian basketball standpoint. But look at the value as well that, you're bringing now, being on the other side of the world, and still kind of carrying that Honey Badgers name with you as well. How unique is that to kind of be able to expand your recruiting base, and then obviously, like, growing this new league that I know you feel so strongly about here in Canada, while you're still across the world?
Oh yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. A lot of long nights on this side for me, but like, I've been able to talk about the league over here, and what is that we're aspiring to, where we're trying to get to as a league, and just being able to see the CBA and what they've been able to do is great. I'm enjoying wearing both hats, and yeah, and hopefully, in the foreseeable future, I'll have a CBA player in a Honey Badger uniform.
Yeah, we can see that writing on the wall. I know you're doing some work over there. And some listening may not be aware of kind of the Team Canada point guard lineage that, I've been lucky enough to kind of watch myself. And it really went from Steve Nash to you, and then moving on to Corey Joseph. And obviously there's been a lot of other guards kind of involved as well. But, we're getting along in age a little bit there, Rock. And, Corey's now one of the
You got to speak for yourself.
But Corey's one of I wasn't even talking about myself or you. I was talking about Corey Joseph, the young buck, now becoming one of the vets, right? And when you see have you been able to keep up on the other young guns? I know Andrew Nemhard really well. He's at Gonzaga. Shea is killing it at OKC before the injury. Even Kevin Pangos, who's another becoming a European veteran, tearing it up in Europe right now. What are you seeing with kind of this new generation, strictly of point guards coming out of Canada?
Oh man, honestly, it's like watching these guys, especially Pangos, because I'm always watching the EuroLeague and seeing what he's been able to do. Like, he's a top 5 to 10 point guard in Europe, right? And seeing obviously with what Nemhard was able to do at Gonzaga, right, almost winning a national championship. Even his little brother Ryan Nemhard, Shea, all these guys, like, it just shows the growth, the development of our game. The fact that these guys have honed their craft and they're representing. And I think, like, as the years go on, it's just going to get better and better. And I think Shea is going to be an all-star one day. And I think Pangos might end up winning a EuroLeague championship and being a EuroLeague MVP. So now I think at the NBA level, the European level, now players have somebody to look at and say like, oh, okay, like I could follow this path and have a successful career. Whereas before, when I was playing, we didn't necessarily have that. We learned on the job. We had to figure it out. But now with social media and the internet and YouTube, etc., like, now like basketball is just readily available, on all fronts.
Back in 2006, when we, and that's when you were at D1 and Canadians going south, it was really about getting that free education, which obviously you made the most of for showing where you are right now. Somewhere along the lines, do you think it kind of got lost on what Division I was about for all these different players? And obviously there's a larger number of them than ever before, over 151 men, over 100 women. But, I feel like D1 has become, I have to go there to be successful in basketball, where back, when you were there, it was, I have to go D1 because I can't pay for an education otherwise. This ball is going to get me what I need post-secondary. Is there truth to that?
Yeah, I think even D2, like if a guy got a JUCO or a D2 scholarship, they were ecstatic, right? Like D1 was like the holy grail, for us back in the day. But I think now, yes, like, D1 is sexy, right? And I think now, like, I don't even think players today, especially Canadian players, they even think about D1. I think everybody's thinking about the NBA and going pro. So I think they're looking past D1. We're developing way more pros as a country than we ever did before. We have the most NBA players of any country besides the US. So it's a testament to what we've been able to do over the last 10, 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, it all has to do with development, and not only on the floor, right? Also had Matt Gray on, NCAA champion, as a graduate assistant, and worked with you down at Team Canada, right?
Yep, the training center, and he's a national champion, right? So even our coaches, our trainers, front office personnel, like we're all given an opportunity now to shine and grow and learn, and I think that's just gonna help the game and help Canadians overall.
We talk about it all the time, one-on-one rock about, the way that the sport has gone, but the fact that, here I am, now talking to you on a podcast, you're in China doing huge things off the court, just very cool to see. And I think continuing to be an inspiration for not only kids coming out of the area that you did in Toronto, but with everything that you're going to be doing, and you alluded to some of it right now, I think an inspiration for people across Canada. And congratulations on everything you've accomplished. I look forward to seeing you back on this side of the water, hopefully in a gym sooner than later, my guy.
I hope so. Honestly, congratulations on all your success as well. And looking forward to seeing you, this summer. Looking forward to hearing your if you have any new catchphrases for the summer, the CEBL broadcast.
I can't wait to get back on that mic instead of just chatting with people, but it's good to be able to get these stories out to these young bucks and some people who don't know it. So thanks again for joining me, Jermaine Anderson from China. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
So this show had 3 Canadians in 3 different countries in 3 different points of their life that all took a different path to get there, but all extremely successful by following their passion for basketball. They also have a strong connection through Canada basketball. Danilo Juricic is a U19 world champion. Keza Kajemi-Keen, who has stepped in when Canada needed him the most during the most recent competition windows. And Jermaine Anderson as the transition from the Steve Nash days to the NBA-dominated roster that we hope to see today. It's a special time, despite our current challenges faced in the basketball world. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Shout out Will Baldwin for his help producing this. The North Pole Hoops media and scouting team who continue to push us forward. Go to northpolehoops.com. North Pole Hoops on Instagram. NPH Showcase on Twitter. I am at _Jason Thom. Until next week, this has been the NPH Hour on News Talk Saga 960 AM.